What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Game Channel. My name's AJ Gels. How y'all doing? It is time once more for the weekly show. I honestly do not have a whole hell of a lot for you guys this week. Honestly, because beyond the two Summer Game Fest announcements, which were Tony Hawk Pro Skaters 1 and 2 Remaster, which, by the way, I am excited for solely on the strength of that soundtrack, mostly because it's a lot of old skate punk, and thank God that is going to kick ass. The other one was the presentation for, which oddly enough, actually, I believe the first footage we've gotten of PS5 gameplay, or, PS5 render. I don't know. I'm hesitant to call that gameplay. I guess it's gameplay in the technical sense, but it was still kind of basically a guided walkthrough to basically show you the Unreal Engine. It wasn't gameplay. I don't know. I'll leave it up to you whether or not you count it. I count it with an asterisk, if that makes sense. Kind of like the whole Xbox the Xbox Series X, there we go, thing that Xbox showed at their event. Oddly enough, I'm speaking fairly coherently right now, and I'm halfway through a really strong drink. Either way, I think that'll tell you what kind of show this is going to be. No, like I said, those were those two plus the Ghost of Tsushima state of play, which oddly enough, I saw a lot of people kind of giving shit to, going, "Oh, I can't," Xbox lead, God damn it, who was it? It wasn't Ryan McCaffrey. He's usually the guy I kind of get a little annoyed with when it comes to stumping for the Series X. It was somebody else from IGN, I think. I think it might have been a Marty Sleva tweet. But, it's, Xbox Series X leads off with their third-party studios, which I still think is a really odd decision. People giving them credit for that is really weird, and mix that with the fact that even if they decided to lead with the third-party studios to, show off the Xbox Series X, like I said, that's weird in and of itself, but then you have the fact that they pissed a lot of people off by not showing gameplay like they said they would. So, I'd say they dropped the ball in a few different ways. I wouldn't give them a lot of credit for that. Saying that Nintendo still is out there, but that's Nintendo. This is mean to Nintendo, but when I consider the console war, I consider it Microsoft v PlayStation. Yes, I understand Nintendo is good at what they do, but Nintendo's kind of beats to its own drum. It's kind of always stayed outside of the console war, sort of thing. So that's kind of why I don't include it. This whole console war thing, but it's PlayStation just showing off a game that we've known about for a long time. Yeah, but what we saw was awesome. It looked good. It showed us some neat features. My mind is still blown by that whole guiding wind thing. Oh my god, that is really fucking cool. But no, either way, onto what I was actually trying to get at. I'm sorry, like I said, I'm not drunk, but I'm pretty buzzed. So if I'm a little rambly, that's why. So because of those three things, there wasn't really a lot to talk about this week. Because, there was news, but it was all kind of in the early half of the week, and then it was kind of small comparatively. And by the way, if you want to see my reactions to everything that I just was talking about, I did the two Summer Games Fest thing, the Tony Hawk and the Unreal Engine showing. I did both of those in one video. It's about like 2 hours long or something. It went up a couple days ago. And then on Thursday/Friday, I'm not sure when exactly the video went up, I did about a 30-minute video for the Ghost of Tsushima thing. So that's what's up with that. So really, it's just, as the title for this video says, we got a lot of announcements of when we're going to be seeing different things. Cyberpunk 2077, the PC Gaming Show, Ubisoft announced their thing, stuff like that. We're also going to be watching the trailer for The Last of Us Part 2. I'll talk a little bit more about what Naughty Dog's been doing lately, which I can't 100% get behind. I kind of get why they're doing it, but at the same time, I don't think it's A, good form, and B, it doesn't look good from a PR standpoint. But we'll talk more about that shit later on. I feel like there's something else I wanted to talk about. Yeah, I talked about the previous announcements. Oh, right. The reason things have been a little light in terms of content the last couple of days, you see my last couple of videos, I think it was a Final Fantasy VII video and a Persona 5 Royal video. I just got a new cat recently. Technically, I'm fostering it until until he has to go back to the shelter for his spay and neuter and whatever. He's going to get that taken care of, I think, on the 28th, and then I can officially adopt him. It's just the whole thing. Legally, I can't technically adopt him until after that surgery, whatever. It's a whole fucking thing. So basically I've been taking care of a small kitten. He was abandoned before he was at the shelter. I think he was only at the shelter for about 2 hours until I actually picked him up and started fostering him. So, he had a kind of a scary day mixed with meeting my older cat who's he's still young. He's like 2 years old, but he's like 20 something pounds. He's a big freaking cat. So, it's a whole thing between the two of them. So just making sure that everybody got along and everything. It's a whole fucking thing. Either way, I've talked long enough. Sorry about this extended intro. There was just a few things I wanted to get off on. That sentence out of context. You know what I mean? There was a few things that I wanted to talk about before we hop into things. Either way, I'm just gonna let anybody clip that if they want, because there's no way I can salvage what I just said. On to our first article. Recent Cyberpunk 2077 news. Just a tip of an iceberg. That's got to be a lost in translation thing. It's got to be just the tip of the iceberg, but whatever. Article: Robert Ramsey, Bush Square. Last week, the official Cyberpunk 2077 Twitter account announced something called Night City Wire, which is happening on the 11th of June. Yeah, 11. Supposedly, it's an online event, probably a stream of some kind, that's going to provide us with a deep dive into the game. In other words, we could be getting an in-depth look at new gameplay. In any case, maybe we'll get to see customizable genitals. In any case, expectations have been heightened, by lead quest designer Paul Sasko, whose enthusiasm for Cyberpunk 2077 is infectious. In response to Blizzard Vice President Mike Ibarra expressing some excitement over the aforementioned Night City Wire, Sasko writes, and I quote, "Each of you waiting for at Cyberpunk game make us even more motivated and hyped to deliver. Recent news is just the tip of an iceberg," end quote. With Cyberpunk 2077 still set to release this September, developer CD Projekt Red has reiterated multiple times that the date hasn't changed. We could be in for several months of non-stop hype, and it's all kicking off with Night City Wire in the near future. What do you hope to see from Cyberpunk 2077 over the next few months? Hold on to your humanity in the comments section below. I was getting into an argument with, not an argument with somebody about a week ago about this game. We were kind of just talking about it because he doesn't think this game's going to hit its date, or if it hits its date, it's going to have problems. I sit and go, look, any game that's trying to be as big as what we're hearing CD Projekt Red's saying that they're trying to do with Cyberpunk 2077, the multiple options, the multiple ways to play the game, the multiple ways it can start, the multiple, just how big they're trying to make this. Again, I think that's the best way to put it. With how big they're trying to make Cyberpunk, it wouldn't surprise me if there's some bugs. No matter what or when this game comes out, I'm sure there will be bugs, but I still think, and I still trust this developer, that they will hit the date and the thing will still be a work of fantastic art. It won't be a buggy mess, but yeah, I'm sure we'll find that, you can isolate some bugs in it. Just about any game, but I have a strong feeling that they'll hit that date, and we'll get I'd say a final product. There is talks that there will be a day one patch though, fixing. I'm trying to think what it was. Fixing the fact that there are certain characters or whatever that want voice acting done, but the whole issue with the coronavirus and everything, that's what's keeping the voice acting from what I've read. But no, I'm super excited for more news in Cyberpunk 2077. And in all honesty, the thing I want to see the most is I just want to see more gameplay, and not even combat. Actually, that's what I'm actually least excited to see. Don't get me wrong, I love what we've seen from the gameplay and the combat and everything. See, kind of what I'm hoping for with how the game is so based on cybernetics and modding the human body and everything. It's a cyberpunk game that, you've seen, I'm trying to think here. You've seen, I've seen gameplay in which you see damage totals pop up from the enemies from shooting them, and times that, like you'll see the number pop up above their health bar, or that you'll see like a detailed description of like the enemy or whatever. Like, I'm hoping that stuff's done through like mods. You install like some sort of cerebral or optical sort of implant that will let you see enemy health bars, that'll let you see enemy information, that will let you see enemy like damage totals that a gun is going to do on an enemy. I think that would be really cool. I don't think they're going to do that. I think it's going to be a toggled option. But god damn it, I really hope we get to see something like that. That it's all done through implants and modifications to the human body. That you really kind of feel yourself advance and become more of a robot if you want to go that way, or if you want to go pure human route with no health bars or HUDs or anything like that. I think it's in the story that you actually do need to have some cybernetical implants, but you get what I'm saying. That you can go with the minimalist approach. I would really love to see that happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I think that's just me being just kind of having a weird want. But on to actually what I want to see from the project. Sorry, that was just a random thought. What I want to actually see from this event is gameplay inside of Night City. I want to see the character. I don't want to say guided. I don't want to say like a guided gameplay chunk, because I get it. Any vertical slice are going to show us is going to be very guided. It's going to be very scripted. But I want to see what it is like to explore Night City, to go to these to Ripper Docks and get implants installed. Maybe see what it's like buying guns. See what picking up quests is going to be like. I want to see that stuff. I want to see the not story, not quest based, not combat based stuff. I want to see just running around Night City and being, I guess, a mercenary. I guess technically because I believe the term is solo in Cyberpunk 2077, or that was a class in the tabletop game where you're a hired gun, as far as I understood it. And I mean, even if you want to play kind of like a net runner, a hacker, or a rocker boy, or a charismatic build kind of character, no matter what kind of character you're going to want, I mean, you're kind of a hired gun, you're kind of a mercenary, as far as I can understand in the story of this game. But I'd like to see how all that stuff outside of missions and quests and everything works, because I think that's the most interesting parts of an RPG is living in the world. I mean, a game that I've been playing the last couple days, like I said, it's you haven't seen me do a lot of content, but while my new cat's been just kind of sitting on my lap, or just in my room as I'm kind of watching over him, I've been playing a lot of SnowRunner. And I know that this is kind of a weird comparison, but hear me out. The thing I love most about that game is just how relaxed it is. It's just kind of there's a level of strategy. There's a level of level of thinking that you have to do to complete, jobs and everything of delivering supplies from one place to the other and driving all over the muddy roads and everything. By the way, it's actually a really interesting game. I kind of made fun of it. I thought it was kind of dumb until I started watching people play it, and then I started playing it and go, holy shit, this is really fun. But beside the point, kind of leading it back into Cyberpunk, it's like I said, like in The Witcher or in just about any RPG, I love exploring the world. I love seeing things, like picking up quests, even more than I actually like doing them. I like to see the characters and the way the world works. So honestly, that's what I want to see more than anything. Though I have a feeling it's just going to be new ways to play the game. Maybe they're going to, because I mean, we've seen, I think the last time that we saw Cyberpunk 2077, we saw a solo build, or a very combat focused build, or a netrunner build. Although honestly, I think what I'm going to go with, because I kind of like to go charismatic, kind of like puckish, kind of rogue character. That's usually what I like to play as. You know what? I think I'm probably going to play Netrunner, my first playthrough of Cyberpunk. But I'm going to play like a combat-based Netrunner. I can't remember what they were called. But those whips that you saw. If anybody remembers last time we actually saw Cyberpunk gameplay, I'm trying to remember when that was. Was it last year's E3? Around last year's E3, or was it at? I can't even remember when that was. Either way, not important. But, we've seen Netrunner gameplay. We've seen solo gameplay. We're probably going to see what it's like if you're playing as a as a charisma build kind of character, talking your way through things. I think we're going to see other ways to play the game, but I do hope that we get a little bit of out of combat, like I said, just exploring the world sort of stuff. But I don't know. Either way, June 11th is when we get to first see the game, and I think that's when they're really going to start building up the hype for the game coming out 17th of September. All right, well, I accidentally just went through about a full 10, 11 minute sort of segment for this article and kind of figured out, oh yeah, I didn't turn my microphone back on. That would have helped. So I'm not going to go through this whole article again. It's pretty straightforward. Basically, the PC gaming show, it's coming back. Minus E3, a list of all the developers who are going to be showing up. I mean, specifically the interesting ones, Larian, who's probably going to be showing Baldur's Gate 3. They're also known for Divinity Original Sin 2, so I mean, I'd keep an eye out for them. Definitely for Zaum. I'm not actually sure how to pronounce that. Zaum. They did Disco Elysium. I've heard really great things about it. I still haven't had a chance to play it, but I've heard great things about it. There's a lot of indie developers here who have done a lot of great projects. I'm trying to think here. I know Greg Miller and Kind of Funny is going to be connected to this with Guerrilla Collective because they're doing kind of like an indie showcase. Kind of connected to this. It's basically, like I said, it's going to be a lot of the PC gaming show or whatever from E3, just kind of done separately from E3. The reason I don't sound I'm kind of coming at this from more of a clinical standpoint instead of I'm so excited. It's because, in all honesty, I've never been a big fan of the PC gaming show. Not necessarily because it's PC gaming and I'm a console guy. That has something to do with it. It's just, I find with the PC gaming show, I find one project that I'm really interested in, and then followed by 3 or 4 that I'm not. It's just I don't want to present content like that, and I think I got enough of that the last couple of years at E3, just watching the normal press conferences, because I think the normal press conferences they got into the habit of honestly being lazy, in my opinion, just showing sizzle reels. There we go. And trailers instead of actually doing like vertical slices of games. Like I keep saying, man, I miss those days. So, in all honesty, I haven't really had a big interest in the PC gaming show. And not saying that there's never been anything good shown. It's just not my cup of tea. So frankly, if you have something that you definitely want to make sure I cover, hey, write in, tell me, hey, AJ, check out this game or whatever. If you've seen it, if you saw it at the gaming show or whatever, because the actual announcements and everything, it's like one full day on June 6th. Like I said, the article has all the times. It's all right here if you want to pause and read all that stuff. It's just going to be one of those, like I said, I'll probably pick and choose some of the stuff that I find interesting. If you want to say, hey, AJ, make sure you cover whatever, I'll take a look at any trailers or anything that you guys tell me to check out. So I'll leave it there and we'll just move on. I guess moving on to an event that kind of got canceled. Apparently Square Enix supposedly ditching plans for digital E3-esque event. Article Robert Ramsey pushed Square. Unlike EA and Ubisoft with EA Play 2020 and Ubisoft Forward respectively, which actually we'll be talking about next. It sounds like Square Enix won't be holding its own digital showcase to make up for the fact that there's no E3 this year. According to journalist Takashi Mochizuki, the Japanese publisher has said that preparing for such an event has become difficult because of the ongoing coronavirus situation. As such, it plans on announcing new games individually when the time is right. It's fair to say that the aforementioned pandemic has impacted everyone in the industry, some worse than others. Earlier in this year, Square Enix said that it was weighing up its options with regards to a summer showcase, but such an event seems very unlikely now. Hopefully, we learn more of the publisher's plans soon. Are you blah, 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 blah. Look, this isn't terribly surprising. I mean, it was cool when when Square Enix had their first E3 presentation, but kind of like Bethesda, it just kind of got well, actually, did they only do 2? Now that I think about it, I think they only did 2 presentations. Either way, you could clearly see them going the way of Bethesda. That look, they're not a big enough company like a Ubisoft, maybe Square. No, maybe it's not size. I'm just trying to think. I don't think they had the output. Again, I just don't think they had the output to keep up with a company like Ubisoft, which I think Ubisoft has so many smaller studios working on so many different projects. You know, I guess that's not the right way to put it, because I don't want to say Square Enix doesn't. It's just, I don't know. I don't know the best way to put it, other than it's just they don't have the constant churning out of content that a company like Ubisoft does. Ubisoft is kind of an anomaly, in all honesty, and the reason EA can do, you know, like EA Play or whatever. I mean, let's be honest, the EA plays, or the EA presentation is about 25% their sports games, but mix that with the fact that EA is just so fucking big. I mean, it you know, I mean, it's basically you know, on the scale of what Sony and Microsoft are. It's so big and spans so many different studios, that it's kind of an anomaly. But it's like I said, Ubisoft in its own right is kind of an anomaly. Square and Bethesda, I think, have just kind of run out of just stuff to keep showing throughout all these presentations. And in all honesty, I think there's only about 3 projects that I'm really interested in seeing Square Enix talk about, and that is what they're going to be doing with Final Fantasy VII, which now we know that the next one is in like its pre-development stage. So it's I still stand by it. I think for the next Final Fantasy game, they should be shooting for 2 to 3 years, because otherwise, I think they're going to wait too long until the next part of the remake comes out. Ghostwire Tokyo, I think, is what it's called. I think that was one of the more interesting non-franchised projects, or, you know, kind of like new IP projects that they're working on. I think that's another very interesting one. And the Avengers game. And not even because I'm interested in playing the Avengers game. It's just, when are you going to launch that thing? Because it keeps seeming like, it's right around the corner. It's right around the corner. And just, we've not seen or heard anything about it for a long time. So, all in all, with the Square project, or the Square event, it doesn't make me sad to hear that there's no Square Enix project. It's just, let me rephrase. It makes me sad, not necessarily because there's not going to be one big Square Enix presentation. It makes me sad because it makes me a little afraid of what's happening to Square Enix. Because to me, it just seems like they don't have their shit planned out very well. But who knows? That could just be me. All right, on to the final, not announcement, but the final planned event that we have, at least for this show. Apparently, Ubisoft Forward will be taking place this July. It is a digital event with reveals and news, and probably actual gameplay of Assassin's Creed. I almost said Assassin's Creed Vikings. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Article Liam Croft. Push square. Publishers are finally starting to reveal their plans for replacements to E3 2020. And French publisher Ubisoft is the next to share its hand with the world. Ubisoft Forward is an entirely digital showcase event taking place on the 12th of July that promises, quote, exclusive game news, reveals, and more. So what can we expect Ubisoft to show? Well, we have to assume that nearly all the games it chooses to reveal will be coming to PlayStation 5 for starters, and Xbox One, or Series X, whatever. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Watch Dogs Legion, deep dives with gameplay seem a very safe bet, alongside more details on Gods and Monsters. Could Skull and Bones be put in an appearance too? We'll have to see. We're sure the publisher will also share more information concerning how it'll tackle bringing the likes of Rainbow Six Siege and The Division 2 to the PS5, and then there's the exciting bit, what entirely new titles will be there. A new Far Cry game has been hinted at by Jason Schreier, but Ubisoft surely has more than that in the pipeline. And then all the extra stuff. What do I expect to see? Definitely Valhalla and Legion, and probably definitely gameplay for both of those. Probably some gameplay for Gods and Monsters, or at least a new trailer and a new release date. Skull and Bones is up in the air, because I think it got pushed back to 2021. At this point, in all honesty, I really don't give a shit. I get it. We're going back to pirate games, and it's clearly using the combat that Assassin's Creed 4 used. My biggest thing with that game is, if it wasn't a shared world multiplayer game, I'd be way more interested. But it's a shared world multiplayer game, therefore, AJ out. Definitely, we're probably going to see some Rainbow Six Siege. They're probably going to be talking about the professional leagues and everything like that. The Division 2, again, just new DLCs or whatever. I mean, I think Rainbow Six Siege, I think they added some new operators recently. I remember seeing trailers for that not giving too much of a crap, but I remember seeing stuff for it. I think a new Far Cry game is probably a good bet. Other than that, I mean, I don't know, maybe some new Rayman stuff. I don't know. I mean, let's be honest. As much as I love Ubisoft, they have a special place in my heart. They've kind of lost some of that magic that I used to love them for. I think starting at, I'd say Syndicate, Watch Dogs 2, or Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Watch Dogs 2. I really think they've kind of been in a decline, in my opinion. So I don't know what exactly new shit we're gonna see from them. I'm gonna guess it's primarily gonna be franchise stuff. That's at least my take. I know this kind of seems like a really fast sort of transition here from one article into the next, but both Ubisoft stuff. But I really like this. What this article is telling us. Assassin's Creed Valhalla's Hidden Blade brings back instant stealth kills. Article Robert Ramsey. Push square. Thank God that is coming back. I miss the instant kill with the Hidden Blade. I really hated the whole. You can't get a stealth kill all the time. You have to have certain levels. It was a. I get it. They're pushing it to be more of an RPG, but it got to the point where it became too much of an RPG, and it kind of got away from what Assassin's Creed really was about. It stopped feeling very. It felt more level dependent than it was skill dependent, if that makes sense. It got away from that great place that Assassin's Creed was, where it was. I mean, if you want to say it was all just sit, hold back, and counterattack like in Assassin's Creed 1, sure. But still, I mean, the way you move from place to place, the way you stealth get to your target and assassinate them and all everything. There was a level of planning and improvisation that you had to be able to do to cope with different scenarios and whatnot. It was a little more interesting in my opinion when in the last couple, especially when it came to stealth assassinations, it kind of came down to, well, do you have the levels? Nope. Well, then you're gonna get into a fight. And I guess the return to this is, and really what I feel like they're trying to do with this game is get a little bit more back away from the RPG stuff and into Assassin's Creed, or at least maybe that's just me projecting my hopes onto this, because it makes me a little more hopeful that Ubisoft is kind of getting back into making maybe very formulaic, very procedural games for them, but still what I loved the company doing, if that makes sense. Let's actually read the article. We think Assassin's Creed Origins and Assassin's Creed Odysseys are both fantastic open world games. I agree with Origins. Odyssey I disagree with, but that's me. But their heavy focus on role-playing systems and mechanics often leaves them feeling very different from how older Assassin's Creed games used to play. One key example of how the series has changed can be found in how Origins and Odyssey handle stealth. In both games, stealth attacks are still possible, but the damage that you deal depends on the character's level, their equipment, and the skills that you've acquired. If you haven't beefed up on your assassin stats, then you're not going to be able to kill even the lowliest guards with a well-placed strike from the shadows. Going back to old Assassin's Creed titles now, being able to one-shot almost any foe with a single stab is almost jarring. A lot of fans have criticized Origins and Odyssey for their handling of stealth-based gameplay, but fortunately, it sounds like the upcoming Assassin's Creed Valhalla is bringing one-hit kills back thanks to the main character's Hidden Blade, which was a big misstep in Odyssey, in my opinion, not giving the character a Hidden Blade. Cool, yeah, the Staff of Leonidas was neat, but not having a Hidden Blade, I missed the Hidden Blade. One, I missed the Hidden Blade. Two, I agree. I do miss the one-hit the one-hit assassination kills. Again, it's like I was saying, it made it feel like it was going too much into an RPG instead of a stealth action game, which is what it always was. And that's honestly, and again, this is coming from a longtime fan of the franchise. That is what I loved Assassin's Creed being. So it's nice to see that stuff come back. But I mean, I've also seen that that the hood is coming back, that social stealth is coming back. Like, they're bringing back a lot of the really cool stealth mechanics and a lot of the things that made the series so fun. And again, I think that has a lot to do with the fact that Ashraf Ismail is connected to this game. I think he's trying to make it a lot more. I think he's trying to blend the new with the old, which I am all on board for. I am so. It's what I said when I played Origins. What I said when I played Syndicate. I like the RPG elements. I like that they're trying to fuse in RPG mechanics into Assassin's Creed. It works. Odyssey, too much. It was too much of an RPG, not enough of an action game, in my opinion. Well, I guess that's not even right. I guess it's not enough of a stealth action game. Yeah, because it's like they said, I don't think stealth-based gameplay was really handled that well. I'd argue in both of them. Let's see here. Director Ashraf Ismail told Kotaku, and I quote, we continue with the idea that Eivor is not a trained assassin. Eivor, I believe it's Eivor, actually. Eivor is a Viking who receives this badass weapon and has to learn very quickly. Early in the experience, Eivor will learn a technique that, with the right timing, can one-shot kill virtually anybody, end quote. I don't know. Maybe that's me thinking they're going back to the old counter kill method that the Hidden Blade had in the earlier Assassin's Creed games, but I am hoping that, they bring back the one-shot sort of stealth assassination back to Assassin's Creed. But it's like I said, but from everything we've been hearing, it does sound like the stealth experience is kind of coming back, and it's going to be what Assassin's Creed once was, and I really like that idea. And also, I think when he's saying that, Eivor is going to receive the blade early on in his adventure, is making me think that we're going to have kind of like an Edward Kenway sort of situation where he's going to end up finding the body of an assassin, kind of incorporate the robes, maybe not incorporate the robes, but incorporate at least the hidden blade. I say the robes because I miss the robes. I'm going to be honest. Look, I like the idea that this game's going to have a lot of customization and all that stuff with Eivor, whatever his name is. That's neat, but I do miss the robes and the hood and everything. I miss those visual sort of themes for the franchise. Maybe I'm using themes incorrectly, but whatever. Let's see here. The quote's a little vague, but going by the article, it seems as though the development team is keen on addressing the criticisms that Origins and Odyssey faced, particularly when it comes to stealth having a hidden blade that's capable of instant death is surely a step in the right direction. Happy to hear the blade's lethality is returning, sneak up, blah, blah, blah. It's like I said, it's not, from what I've been able to tell, it's not just that, it's a few other, components of stealth-based gameplays coming back to Assassin's Creed, and that's a lot of fun for me. So, all right, guys. Moving on, we got one more thing to take a look at, and we will be back in a quick second. All right, on to the final bit of the show here. Yes, I know this show is kind of short, I don't want to say lacking in content. It's just not a lot of diversity in the content, because most of it's all just, hey, here's some of the shows that we got coming up. It's because, frankly, it's like I said at the top of the show, not a lot of really big stuff coming out this week, at least in my opinion. Everything I kind of saw just kind of felt a little bland. I think the most interesting thing one of the more interesting things I did see was that, what was it, the Mafia franchise is kind of like getting remasters or whatever, and it's cool and all, but here's my commentary. Cool. There you go. But either way, on to our last topic here. That's the Last of Us Part 2 trailer. I kind of debated throwing this one into last week's show, but I felt like we had enough stuff to actually sit and cover, so I decided to tag it on to this week's. And I also kind of wanted to talk about some of the stuff that Ubisoft's been doing, because I've been seeing Naughty Dog's been doing, and I've been seeing a lot of people talking about it. Honestly, I've seen a lot of people, or a lot of titles of a lot of videos, because, again, I keep saying I will not watch any video that really references the leaks, outside of, hey, these happened, like I talked about who spread the leaks or whatever, but, I've not seen what the leaks are, and I also have no interest in seeing what the leaks are, and I have, I've seen a few videos talking about the leaks, but not actually what they involved, but from but I've seen a lot of channels actually, like, with videos that have been actually discussing them and everything. And apparently there have been a lot of takedowns from Ubisoft, a lot of copyright notices. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I think that's bad form for Naughty Dog. One, because these people are just trying to cover video game news. The stuff got leaked. It's what they do. I get it. Oh, they're spoiling our game. But that's just like Atlas saying, oh, don't stream Persona 5 Royal into the new semester because we want people to explore it and play it yourself. Oh, fuck you. That's not what it means. And again, it irritates me hearing people talk, hearing developers say that. I get it. You want people to play the game themselves, but not everybody's going to play the game. Like, there are tons of games that I don't like to play that I will watch somebody play and just for the story or just to figure out, what I thought about them. It's that I feel like the Let's Play community and everything has really kind of ingratiated themselves with a lot of developers, but I still feel like every so often, again, kind of like with what was going on with Persona the first time around and this time around, it just seems like there are every so often you get developers who just kind of spit in the eye of this community. I use in quotes. We kind of bring this back to what Naughty Dog's doing. It's like I said, it's bad form. Look, these people are just doing what, talking about news, talking about stuff. And like I said, they're talking about the leaks or whatever, and people knew going in what it was going to be talking about. So I don't really have a problem with it. It's why I don't watch those videos, because I don't want to know what the leaks were. And I've been seeing a lot of people who are saying that, oh my gosh, this game's going to suck because of what was said in the leaks. So that does kind of make me worried. I'm holding out hope, but it does make me a little worried. I'm hearing people say, that the leaks did not fill them with confidence. Feeling like there might be a lot of progressive kind of political bullcrap thrown into the game. So, I don't know. It makes me worry, but I'm still holding out hope. Look, I can get past political undertones as long as it's not, slapping you in the face. Either way, I've kind of danced around I've kind of kept touching on the topic and going off onto something else. Basically, what I'm saying is, look, Naughty Dog shouldn't be filing takedowns and everything. I get why they're doing it, but I don't think they should be, because I think it makes them look bad. And like I said, it's just bad form, guys. Like, really, these are people who, this information was leaked. These are people who are just talking about it. It's what they do. Just come on. Yeah. Either way, let's actually sit and take a look at this trailer. Hopefully, I'm actually recording
Peggy
game audio. Yep, we're good.
I know you wish things were different. I wish things were different. Ellie! But they ain't.
Please stop!
See, I'm already loving the tone, because it's not surprising. It's a lot darker. It's a lot angrier. I'm seeing that. I've got a feeling that everybody's waiting for Joel to die in this game. I don't think he's gonna die. Or I think a lot of people are expecting him to die early on in the game. And look, if the leaks are going to tell you something different, and you know what the leaks are, as always, don't post it in the comments. Please do not spoil anything. Cause like I said, I will remove the comment and block people for that shit. Because look, spoilers and everything, I don't appreciate that. Look, I'm not going to be mad at you if you want to go out and seek that stuff out yourself. That's fine, but don't blatantly ruin it for other people. That's just a dick move, in my opinion. But just from what I've seen in the trailers and just what I think that they're going to do, because I think Naughty Dog actually does lean towards the happier endings. I don't know. You know what? Actually, I'll pull that one back, because I guess I'm trying to kind of compare Uncharted to The Last of Us, and you really can't, because Uncharted is it's a very different game. It's more Indiana Jones. It's kind of, I was expecting Elena to die. Even though she's my favorite character in that franchise, I was expecting her to die in 4. I'm not going to say Joel won't die, but I don't think they'll do that as early as everybody's thinking. I think everybody's expecting Joel to already be dead when we start playing the game, or die very early on in the game, and that's going to be Ellie's motivation. I think that scene, we're seeing them hold her down. Kind of looks like she was in like a subway terminal, or maybe somewhere in an airport. I don't know. But, getting chased by all the zombies and everything. I'm going to guess he gets kidnapped or something, and she's kind of setting up a rescue. You're kind of seeing the aftermath of that. That's just my guess. But either way, I'm really liking the darker tone they're setting for this game. That it's what I think Druckmann said something along the lines of, months and months ago, that, the first game was about hope. This one's about anger and revenge and, some other dark sort of feelings. Yeah, I don't know. I'm also hoping that we see a lot more of Ellie on her own as opposed to Ellie with a partner. I mean, even though I always like having that partner, you know, it was a really cool dynamic seeing Joel and Ellie kind of together in the original game. But I'm kind of hoping that we do kind of get that sense of isolation in this one.
I'm leaving tomorrow.
To do this smart, we'll be leaving Jackson vulnerable.
Do they just get to get away with this?
How'd you find us?
You can't stop this.
Nope. You know what? I'll take that back. When we were seeing Ellie getting shoved to the ground, the wounds and everything, then we saw Joel, we saw Tommy. No, it's that God damn it! I feel like we've heard her name before. The girl that she was kissing in that E3 thing from was that the last E3? Or was that 2 E3s ago? God damn it! I can't remember. It's the one where they started E3 in that barn and then moved to the theater for Ghost of Tsushima. If anybody remembers what I'm talking about, was that? I think that was the last E3. I can't freaking remember. Either way, I think it's her. She's kidnapped and she's going on an adventure to kind of like find her and save her. That's what it is. Got it. Boom.
I want what you want,
I love her tattoo.
but not at any cost. I really hope you make it.
I have to finish it.
There's a cost.
We could have killed you. Maybe you should have.
Okay, you know what? Screw everyone who's saying, "Oh, well, the leaks are," you know, screw all those YouTube videos that are saying, yeah, all those YouTube videos that are titled "Last of Us Part 2 is gonna suck," "Last of Us Part 2 is gonna suck," "Last of Us Part 2 is gonna suck." I'm going in super fucking excited. I love that trailer, man. Again, it's just it's doing exactly what it should do. It's getting me hyped, but not telling me a lot about the game. I'm trying to like piece together what I think I know. And again, this is coming from not reading any leaks or anything. This is just me kind of guessing shit. Because I mean, we also know that Ellie's mother and at least I believe Ellie's mother and everything. Some of her more origin, quote unquote, because I mean, really, her origin was told in the Left Behind DLC, or the origin that mattered, I would say, was told in the Left Behind DLC. So, you know, we know her mother's going to be at least some portion of this game. So, yeah, there's going to be some interesting folks on that. But I think it's going to be her looking for her girlfriend or whatever that she's kidnapped fairly early on. Probably in that little... Because we've seen just little screenshots and little slices of them out on like a patrol or a scavenging run or something. So I think they're gonna get kidnapped or something like that. I don't know. I'm also hoping that there's something to do with the Fireflies and Ellie kind of figuring out that Joel decided not to sacrifice her. And I don't know how because I'm sure so many people are like, oh, Ellie would actually want to be sacrificed or whatever. I'm like, I think it would be a lot more complicated with her. Ellie always seemed a little bit more, not a pure good character. She never struck me as I'll sacrifice myself to save the world sort of person. You know, she seemed a lot. I'm not saying that she wouldn't go out of her way to help people, but she also never seemed like necessarily at the point where it's going to absolutely 100% kill her. So I think she's a little bit more complex than that. So I really want to see that scene between her and Joel. But I'm super excited, man. Just the game, just for the gameplay alone, I'm excited. you know, I mean, definitely the story is really intrigues me, but it's just gameplay alone. I'm super curious to see where they're going to take the franchise. You know, how they're going to implement, because I believe they're going to start trying to implement more. I don't want to say more stealth-based stuff, but they're going to be trying to. Well, we know they're going to implement more like stealth-based stuff, but combat's supposed to look more fluid. You know, you can like hide under cars and stuff. And you can give you more options. You know, they've said. I'm trying to remember exactly. You know, the way the individual enemies will actually interact with each other is going to be very varied and interesting. It's I'm super interested in this from a gameplay perspective, just in general. Survival elements, that's what I was trying to ramble my way towards. I'm really curious to see what they're going to start doing with that stuff. So look, screw the leaks, screw the people who are saying I read the leaks and I'm disappointed. And nope, I'm stoked. I'm going to remain stoked. Either way, guys, we're going to close out here. Thanks for watching. Social media's in the description. Like, comment, not already. Please subscribe to the channel. As I said earlier, sorry that this episode was kind of dry. We just, like I said, I just didn't find a whole hell of a lot interesting this week. So, like I said, I kind of worked with what I had. Obviously, if there's any announcements or any Summer Games Fest stuff, I'll do videos for that. As we go through the week, and other than that, that'll be everything. So thanks for watching. Until next time, my name's AJ Gells, the Something Game Channel. I'm out.